What's up, y'all? It's your girl Drea back with another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to do this kind of like vlog style, but yeah, today's video is going to be a little bit different because the Lord checked me this morning, chin checked me, as a matter of fact, and He's just been convicting me a lot lately about not telling my story. The reason why you have not been seeing a lot of vlogs is because that part of my journey, like the pursuing music part, that part is done. Like I was documenting the journey and the process of putting out my music EP, but I put the EP out and now it's like, all right, what do I document now? And God has really like been putting it on my heart to just document my whole journey, document my whole process, everything that I'm going through. And yeah, I've been shying away from that because I've been wanting since like years ago. I have been wanting to start my YouTube channel. I've been wanting to do vlogs and all of that. Even over the years, if you look at my old vlogs and stuff, I was pursuing a part of the journey and I was documenting that, but I was not documenting the whole journey, what I was doing outside of the pursuit, right? So God has just really been like testing me and showing me that I have not been showing up in my relationships, in my pursuits, in, you know, whatever that I do. I have not been showing up as my authentic self. I said, why are you checking me this morning? But I've been wanting to document the pursuits, document me doing something, getting somewhere, going to, you know, a particular place in my mind. I have this vision of what my life could look like, and I've always tried to pursue after that vision, right? But I realized like my whole life has been controlled by God. Every single aspect, every part of my life, every part of my journey has been controlled by God. I realize like I feel like a puppet. Here, go here. All right. Move over here. All right. Go to this job. All right. Quit that job. All right. Get out. Go, get in this relationship. Okay. I'm taking that relationship away. Oh, here's a friend that you can have for this season. All right. I'm going to take this friend away. All right. Like, so I have been trying to make sense of this season that I'm in. At the beginning of the year, I did pursue my music career. I moved into this apartment. I, I was reacquainted with independence. I lived in my parents' house for a while. Like I would always go back and forth to my parents' house. If something didn't work out, if I would pursue something, move out the house, something didn't work, I would be right back in my parents' house, right? But it's a new journey. I really feel like I'm pursuing like the type of life that I'm currently living. I feel like I'm pursuing something that I've never pursued before. I feel like I'm entering into uncharted waters. Like I feel like the way God wants to get me to that vision is going to look way different than what I expected or imagined, right? So a little bit about me. I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, full-time pastor, right? So we would be at church Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Saturday, right? So as a little kid, that was my life. Going to church was really a great experience because I had a lot of friends. We had a lot of friends. We grew up in Indiana. So we had a lot of friends at our church, and we had a lot of friends at our school. So that was my life there, right? Church girl, accepted that. I was cool with that. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't fall into the expectation of, oh, well, a preacher's daughter is supposed to do this, a preacher's daughter is supposed to do that, whatever the case may be. Whatever expectations was put on me as a preacher's kid, I rebelled against all of that. I wanted to be free. I wanted to do my own thing. School was so boring to me. I felt like I wasn't being creatively stimulated. I've always been creative, always been a singer, singing in the church when I was a little girl. That was my first time ever like exploring that, you know, exploring my creativeness, right? That's the first time I discovered that I can sing. So yeah, I grew up there, and then when I was about 15 years old, we moved to Louisiana, which is where I am now. So in that's where I kind of discovered my my creative outlets. Like I love singing, I love this, I love that. So I've just started pursuing after those things, right? I never adopted the mindset of God being in control of my life. I thought that God was going to order my steps. I thought that God was just going to, you know, as I pursued what I wanted to pursue, as I did what I wanted to do, God was just going to bless it. God was just going to do this and he was going to do that, right? But my life has not looked like that at all. I've Ever since I was a teenager, I knew that I was different. I knew that I was set apart. I knew that I had all of this vision for what my life should look like. I knew I had all of these talents and gifts and stuff. And when I came into my relationship with God, really like for real, in 2018, I surrendered over my life. I surrendered that. I was like, okay, I'm done doing it my way. This is what I'm saying to God. I'm done doing it my way. I just want to live for you. I want to do all the things you want me to do and this and all of that. God, I am yours. Do what you will with me. At 32 years old, I am realizing that surrendering to God's will for your life is not ideal. Surrendering to God's will for your life is scary, especially when you've never experienced your vision in the way that you want it to. I want to be a world famous singer. I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I want to, have successful businesses and, this and this and that. But my life, the journey has not like looked like that. My pursuits have always been towards that, but I would always get hit with roadblocks. I would always get hit with delays. I would always get hit with setbacks, and that would bring on discouragement. And when I get discouraged, I stop, which is why I have not ever been inconsistent on social media. I've never been consistent with posting and, uploading videos and things like that. Never. When I get discouraged in something, oh, forget this. I don't want to do it. Let me go find a new hobby. Let me go find a new pursuit. Let me go find something else to do, this and this and that. And I realized like my heart is in every single thing that I do. And so when God allows me to do something, when God allows me to pursue something, I'm excited. I'm going into it like, yes, this is it. This is the moment. This is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the part of the journey where I win. This is the part where, all of my haters and all of my doubters and everyone who didn't believe in me can just see, what God does, this is that. I've always went into something with that mentality. And I realized that is not always the case. If you're going to live for God, you have to be willing to surrender to the way he wants to get you to that vision. I have been so like hell bent on controlling how I get there the avenues, the routes that I take. I've been in control of that, which in turn would cause the delay. It would cause me to self-sabotage at some point. It would cause me to, take matters into my own hands. And as soon as I get to the end of a thing, as soon as I get to the end of the rope, as soon as I realize that I can't do this on my own, that's when God intervenes. That's when God is like, all right, well, let me control. Let me take control of the wheel. You've done enough. Let me do it. And letting God do it, taking a step back, that has been the most scariest, that is the most scariest part of the journey. Allowing God to control your life. Allowing God to control your life looks like Him presenting an opportunity, Him leading you somewhere, Him giving you a desire of your heart to pursue, but not giving you the details of when. Like giving you something to do in your heart. Sometimes it looks like giving you something to do in your heart and Him not creating opportunity for you to do that thing. Sometimes it looks like God leading you to a job, blessing you at that job, showing you favor at that job, allowing you to get a nice apartment with that job, pay your bills, become independent, and then telling you to quit your job and begin to depend on Him full time, despite what you've built, despite what you've done at that job, or, despite what that job has done for you. And I think that a lot of people, they say that they're following God, they say that they're trusting God, they say that they want to be, they say that they are surrendered to God's will, but the minute God tells them and instructs them to do something that does not make sense or that does not appease their flesh, does not aspire to what they want to do, they're out. Oh no, God, I'm not doing that. God, I'm not quitting my job. Who's going to pay these bills? We immediately start thinking, oh no, that's the devil. That's the enemy just trying to get me off my pivot. That's the enemy trying to self-sabotage me. That's the enemy trying to. And the whole time, it's just God directing your steps. When God directs your steps, He's not obligated to tell you all of the details. He's not obligated to tell you everything that you need to know. It wouldn't require trust. It wouldn't require faith, right? The vision for my life was always to show people how to live in pursuit of what God has for them in their lives, right? But I myself get into seasons where sometimes I don't be knowing what God has for me. That, like, literally this season that I'm in right now, I got here to this point listening to God, being led by God. But now I'm in a season, now I'm at a part of that season where He's not as vocal about my next. He's showing me things in my future, right? He's showing me what's to come, but He's not giving me detail on how to get there. He's not showing me the steps to get there. God is showing me the what, but He's not showing me the how, right? And spiritually, that always puts you in a place where you start doubting. You start, allowing fear to kind of creep in because you don't know what's next. You don't have control of your life following God. Really following and trusting in God and having like a faith walk season, walking by faith and not by sight. Those types of seasons requires only your yes. And it just challenges you to let go of control. it challenges you to have faith in spite of your circumstances. When God told me to quit my job, I thought I was immediately going to go into entrepreneurship, but that wasn't the case. I was sitting up here at my computer every single day. I think I even began just vlogging that part, thinking that my entrepreneurship endeavors was going to lead to immediate success. Well, God, if you're telling me to quit my job, then clearly this has to work. What else is there for me to do? And so when I realized that all of my entrepreneurship endeavors were not working, I realized, okay, God, you got something different for me to do. Like, clearly there's something more, like there's more to the story, right? That you're not telling me about, right? So I have been in my apartment going about my day. I started filming some content surrounding the creative, which is a part of my vision. I felt a release from God to do that. And I've been doing that. I've still been posting on TikTok. I've still been giving like inspirational words. I've still, been, doing my podcast and everything like that. But Jesus, I have been feeling like I'm only doing stuff. I'm only doing these things for God, and I'm not doing anything for me. Does that make sense? It feels like the podcast, the TikTok, the Instagram, the inspirational things, all of that. Even this video, I feel I don't want to do this. I don't want to get on here and tell people the ugly side. I don't I don't want to get I do not want to get on here and tell people the ugly side of being obedient to God. Like the ugly side, the uncertainty, the side of me that doesn't know what to do, the vulnerable side, the side of me that doesn't know. You know, we can pride ourselves on, being the type of person that knows what to do. Like we're smart, we're intelligent. I have it figured out. We pride ourselves on that, but I was never comfortable getting on camera, sharing this part of my story where I did not have it figured out. But he's telling me to do it anyway. And this is the type of stuff that I be talking about. Like like following God for real is not pretty. Following God for real, doing what he tells you to do in spite of what you want to do, and like pursuing what God wants you to pursue in spite of what you think you should be pursuing, that is hard. It's always a tension. It's always like a wrestle between you and God, because you see your life this way. You think that you should be doing this. You think that you should be going in this direction. And then God will just cause you to do a whole 180 and then tell you to do this. And this don't make sense. This does not make any sense. But you have to trust the process. Regardless of how it looks, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what people may say. I can't believe you quit your job. That was the best job of your life. Why would you do that? Are you sure you heard God? Are you sure you're being led by God? Well, maybe you're hearing the devil's voice. Like, I've always tried to avoid that, because that brings discouragement. Like, that is confirmation that you don't know what God has shown me. Your doubts, your fears, everything that you're projecting on me, whether those people love you or not, whether they think that they have their best interest, the best interest of you or not. They don't see what God is showing you. They don't know what God has placed on the inside of you. People, like, when you are really chosen, when you're really, like, when God has really given you a vision, when God really has given you like a something in your heart to pursue that just seems impossible, that just seems larger than life, nobody is going to see that. Nobody is going to understand what God has placed on the inside of you for you to do. So, of course, your journey is going to look different. God is going to get you there. God may call you to quit a job. God may tell you to get out of that relationship. God may tell you to let go of something that you did not want to let go of. I, I absolutely loved my job. This, this was the first job that I've ever liked. Ever. I loved everything about it. Everything. And it took me 4 months to quit. God had been telling me, been like showing me in the midst of my happiness, in the midst of my comfort being at that job. God kept like telling me, your time here is about to end. I have something else for you to do. Like, I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe that's, like a year from now, or, you know, I'm getting health insurance from this job. Like, I'm getting benefits from this job. I haven't had insurance. I haven't had benefits in a while. Along this journey, my my Crohn's disease started getting worse out of nowhere. Since I want to say in May of this year, my Crohn's disease, like, my health just started, getting a little bit worse after years of not having any issues. This job allowed me to pay for my medicine, pay for my, doctor's visits and everything like that. You want me to quit that? There, like, this job literally was such a blessing to me that it was very, very hard for me to give this job up. And when I left, I had all the confidence in the world, following God, just trusting Him. And then when we get into the thick of being obedient, you start getting final notices. Your money starts running out. You start getting payment interruptions. Your bank account starts going into the negative, and now you're thinking to yourself, is following God really, really worth it? Because when I was over here, I didn't have these issues. Now that I'm just trusting you and having faith and pursuing after whatever it is that you want me to pursue, being obedient, allowing you to guide my steps. Now we've come into a season like this that caused me trauma in previous seasons in the past. Being broke, being evicted, like, all of the things that I did not want to experience. You didn't show me that when I quit my job. You didn't say that all of this was going to happen. You didn't say that I was going to have to believe in the impossible for you to come through for me and pay my rent. You didn't tell me all of that. I'm thinking life was about to get better because you're calling me away from a great situation. I'm thinking that life is about to be, yeah, immediately. But it hasn't been like that. Last month, God came through for me and paid all of my bills last month in October. This month, I'm waiting on God to come through for me again. And I did not realize that I was going to have to depend on him in that way. I didn't realize that month to month was going to look like that. So I say all of that to say, your vision for your life is God given, and it's not going to always require you to have any control in getting to pursue that vision or getting to that vision. It's not going to require your control. It's going to require your faith. And for a lot of us, that's not going to sit well. For a lot of us, that is scary. For a lot of us, that is crazy. I thought that when I was working my job, I was going to be able to pay for, my studio sessions and, use that extra money to pay for studio sessions and this and that. You tell me to quit the job. Now, how am I going to go to the studio, Lord? How I'm going like 2024, God has literally just like wrecked all of my plans, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with God directing my steps. The Bible literally says a man plans his ways. He plans his path, but it's the Lord that directs his step. So even when you have a plan to do something, God can either allow that plan to succeed, or he can tweak it a little bit, or he can just crash it entirely. And you have to be okay with that, because you're now a child of God. Now you are surrendering to his will. Now you are giving up control. You ask God to direct your steps. You ask God to do this. But the moment he doesn't do it in the way you expect him to, or the way that you want him to, the bitterness, the anger, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the discouragement, all of that comes in, and it like literally, it taints your vision of who God is. I've literally had some of the worst days of my life just sitting here worried, filled with anxiety. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to tell my parents? How am I going to tell people? How am I going to explain this on the podcast? Like, how am I going to pay for this? What if I get kicked out? What if these people come take my car? Like, what if? Like, some days have been filled with all of that, but then some days have been great. Some days have been, yeah, I got these final notices sitting on my counter, but I got food in my refrigerator. I got my cable on. I got my lights on. My son is happy. He doesn't have a want or need. Like, everything is like fine right now. And I've been taking joy in that, but I've also been having to take the joy in suffering as well. Suffering gives God an opportunity to make things better. Suffering gives God an opportunity to show you things you would have never seen in your high moments. Suffering gives you a perspective that you never would have had. So, for those of you who are in the thick of and what looks like an ugly season, just know that if God is telling you to do this, if God is telling you to stop doing this, if you are allowing God to direct your steps, you have to be okay with the outcome. Whether it is favorable or not, you have to be okay with whatever outcome God gives you. Because if we're going to walk by faith and not by sight, we're going to have to believe these scriptures. We're going to have to like apply these scriptures to our life. Even the ugly seasons, even the ugly transitions, like, we're going to have to apply the word for real. we're going to have to live in pursuit for real. If God's plan is to prosper us and not to harm us, then even when these eviction notices and all of these final notices are sitting on your counter, you have to still believe that God is going to come through with you, come through for you. You have to believe that God's plan is to prosper you, not to harm you. You have to believe that whatever God is doing is for your good and that it's going to work out. We have to believe that. So, yeah, this journey is not fun. It's not ideal. It's not what I had planned or expected, but we're here. We're here. And we're having faith, literally holding on by a mustard seed. I am holding on by a mustard seed, okay? But I have this knowing, like deep down inside of me, I know that I'm going to get to where it is that God showed me. I know that I'm going to get there, but just navigating the now, navigating the transition, navigating the unknown is always going to be ugly. No matter how much faith you got. So yeah, I'm just going to be coming on here a little bit more raw, a little bit more authentic, showing up as my authentic self and seeing where this goes. Because this is me being obedient in real time, me living in pursuit in real time. So, yeah, I will see you guys and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.